Hey, how about a movie tonight, huh?
Wow, what's that aftershave you're wearing?
New High Karate Aftershave is so powerful, it drives women right out of their minds. That's why we have to put instructions on self-defense in every package. High Karate, the brisk splash-on aftershave that smooths and soothes and cools. High Karate, aftershave, cologne, and gift sets. High Karate, be careful how you use it.
My granddad used to wear High Karate. Alrighty. It is Wednesday again. Good evening, everybody. I'm DM Foss, and tonight we have DJ. How you doing, DJ?
I'm doing well, Foss. I'm doing well.
Good to hear. And G Webs. Did anybody guess the name?
No, not yet. Close. Very close. People came very close.
Everybody out there is safe.
And Barrett, how you doing?
How's it going? I'm doing good.
It's good to hear. Let's take a look, see who was out there so far. Caucasian Sasquatch, G23, New York Outcast. He's staying up late. Hillbilly Up. Yeah, Ozzy Osbourne, Wesley Foster. DJ once again saying hi to everybody. Let me get that one. So at the bottom of the screen, there's email address and a link. If you want to send in comments, suggestions, pictures within reason, you can do that either of those two ways. And there's a link. Excuse me. Link in the description for the overnight Gilded server. It's another way. It's a place to hang out, share pictures, memes, chit chat with other people. You can always get a hold of myself, Baron, or some of these other guys there. And shot everything. Did everything. I think that's everything that's supposed to cover. 2 live movies. So this week's poll, let me share that. That there. Now, there it is. Was best part of Christmas: decorations, the food, the presents, family gathering, or just bah humbug. And family gathering, 45%. Bah humbug, 26%. And the food, 17%. The presents, 7%, and the decorations, 5%. I was figuring family gathering would probably take it, but I thought there'd be more of like the presents or decorations.
Bah humbug took it.
But here, let me put I'll put a link. Copy that for the so community if you haven't, yeah, the community tab. Thank you. So if you haven't voted in the poll, you can jump over there and vote. G23 saying there's a lot of people lying about the family gathering. Oh, as a kid, you look forward to the presents, but as an adult, not I don't enjoy receiving presents as much as giving presents now, especially for giving presents to all the kids and stuff. And for our family, that's kind of until both my sisters that we'd get together with. It was mainly about getting presents for the kids. And we've done it a few different ways for the adults. For a while we drew names out of a hat. That way, you didn't have to buy presents for everybody. Did that for a while. Did just for the kids for a while. And then went back and forth to whether we bought, you bought presents for everybody or just some. But I don't know. Do you guys have different Christmas traditions?
Not really. Changes every year. This year I just got 3 presents for people. 3 different people. That's it. I think I got 1. But maybe I'll get something in the mail before Christmas is here. Who knows?
Roy Munson is out there. Good evening. Woods. Oops, where'd he go? There we go. Woods and Smaggy. Schmaggy. I got my friend in Omaha, who is not a DJ, sends me Omaha steaks every year. And then I'll send him some Northwest stuff, like the Fair Scone mix and some salmon.
In Omaha, those steaks are just all over. Like in a lot of places, they'll have like the newspapers that are free at the store for like auto ads and stuff. Like they'll just have Omaha steaks in piles.
Yeah, like on the way out of the grocery store, they have the little machines where you put in 2 quarters, except it's like 8 quarters. You turn it, T-bones drop out. They're falling out of the sky here.
They're pretty good steaks. Yeah, I'll say that, I think.
They do well.
And it's usually a mix of, there'll be like bacon. There's usually some bacon wrapped filet mignon, and I forget what the other ones are. I'm impressed with. They come frozen, so they can be shipped anywhere. But when you thaw them out, the first time we got them, what caught my attention was there's no smell, which if you can smell it, usually it's not the freshest. Similar with fish, if your fish smells fishy, it's not fresh. Tim S is out there. New York Outcast is saying pass on the chicken fried steak. Yeah, for those who don't know, New York Outcast nearly poisoned his family with chicken fried steak.
How do you do that?
He blames it on the stove, but yeah.
What, he served it raw or something?
I'm not sure. I only caught part of the story, but it was some kind of cooking fiasco that he blames on a stove.
Did his meat thermometer also break?
Oh, Gunmetal Guy USA. Good evening.
You make chicken fried steak with chicken of the sea.
Yeah, he's saying the cat wouldn't even eat it. So it might have been the stove turned off. Was it the stove turned off? Something like that. So it didn't cook it.
I get it, but I feel like that's also user error. Like you should realize that you're serving raw chicken.
Oh, he's saying it's more like a hockey puck, so maybe it overcooked it.
Oh.
I don't know. Maybe it partly overcooked it, partly undercooked it.
Well, and like I don't want us to be confused. It was chicken fried steak, not chicken fried chicken. So
Chicken
Is that
fried
right?
steak is beef.
Well,
right?
chicken fried steak is
bing, there we go.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure because chicken fried chicken is a thing and it's damn tasty. You know, side by side. You know, I put them both away.
Oh, he said it didn't turn off, so it was overdone.
I'll put a little water on it. Once G20, it's one of those things.
Well, that's better than underdone, I guess.
That's an easier kind of sick to deal with, you know, especially if it's already carbon. 'Cause
How can you get
sometimes
some raw beef?
Well, because it's usually ground beef that
Oh yeah, say no more.
is more dangerous because you get some
Different thing. Yeah. I guess.
some kind of bug in there, and then it gets all mixed in.
the farther you get,
Oh, go ahead, DJ.
I would say the farther you get away from a primal cut, the higher risk you are.
Because if you have a steak and there's something on the outside of the steak, it can get cooked off and killed while in the cooking process, depending on how you cook it, if you cook it. And then with ground beef, it can contaminate everything that goes through that grinder and then ends up on the inside.
So chicken fried steak does not have chicken in it.
No,
It's steak that's fried like chicken.
It's just a breakfast steak, right?
Why don't they just call
no,
it a
it's
fried
supposed
steak?
to be it's supposed to be a butterfly fillet that then is breaded and traditionally fried in schmaltz or a blend. And schmaltz is rendered chicken fat. So like that
that
is
what
the
you're
way,
saying?
and like but what it became is
I thought
anything
it was
that then
the
is just
style
fried
of
in
bread.
oil.
Yeah, I thought it meant like fried in a fry pan or fried with breading in a fry pan, as opposed to like deep fried. But yeah, it's basically steak with breading on it, like fried
Yeah.
chicken would be.
You got it.
But I thought it was breakfast. I thought it was something you eat for breakfast.
That's a
I
three
don't-
meal
my-
dish for me.
Yeah, usually it's I don't know, it's kind of heavy for a breakfast.
Yeah, I'm thinking like truck stop breakfast, not like
Oh.
normal grandma breakfast. Yeah.
Big.
I mean, I don't really. I've probably ate one once. I don't. It's not my thing. So I don't know.
Yeah, I've had it. You know, I've had it at a diner. I don't recall it being great or being horrible. So
I don't remember it being ground beef though. But the thing is, I think it was always like when you don't have great meat, you make it chicken fried steak. You know, because it's not
Yeah.
going to stand alone as a steak type of thing.
that could be.
It's
So I thought it was
stepped
like a
it's stepped farther. It's stepped farther away from tradition, and what some people will pass off, or if you get these things in like a pub or at a grill kind of thing, if they're not using a full cut, like a regular cut that you would want as a steak itself, then everything is pretending towards the original dish. So people will even take like cube steak. Like that's what my mother did. My mother would bread cube steak. That's just, that's something that gets, run through some tines and some blades to soften it up because it's nothing but gristle. So
Well, yeah. that's
another
it.
thing that happens, no,
You'd cut the
pardon, I'm
steak
sorry,
and
but go ahead.
you cut the steak and smash it with that hammer with the dimples in it. It was that kind of
Yeah,
stuff.
for sure. Take an inferior cut of meat, pound it out. It's the same kind of thing sometimes with like pork tenderloin. The flattening thing also, but that goes back into like like schnitzel tradition. It kind of depends on where you come from, but yeah, using like meat or beef that you wouldn't eat as a steak kind of like ends up being what you cover with breading, and you can serve up to anybody bombed in gravy with two sides for $7.99 all day long.
So you're saying schnitzel is cooking something in chicken grease?
Well, no, that's just like in the tradition of pounding something flat. Like that's, veal pounded flat, breaded, fried.
Yeah, I think cube steak is the way I've mainly seen.
What is cube steak? So that's not steak chopped up into a cube. That's some cut of a steak.
Usually with the cube steak, if you look at the meat, they'll be, rather than being pounded with a mallet, it's you'll see the little cuts. There'll be a little rectangular uniform cuts all through the.
Like if they were going to marinate it, like they just pierce it a bunch of times.
Yeah, that's a good way to think about it. It's like scoring. It like scores it.
So when you
it's-
buy it from the store, though, you're buying a cut of meat, and it's already, they do that as part of the cut. Like
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's something that's taken from the farther back you go, that's the tougher that it's going to be in beef. Like, so if you're going back up on, the back end of the butt, the rump, basically, that's where a lot of that comes from. A lot of those cuts, because they're so tough that you have to do wet method cooking, or you need to do something like do that kind of pound them flat, puncture them, and get some of that tissue broken down.
What about some of these places that are fancy? Do they make the chicken fried steak out of better cuts of meat then, so that it's fancier
Yeah.
right off the bat?
Well, that's kind of where I started off, which is the dish traditionally is a fillet, a beef fillet that you butterfly and split out as if it was like split a split breast, like moose out there, spatchcock. Anyway, so that so you butterfly it. That's the way that it would rock, and that's the way I've eaten it here at all the steakhouses. And like side note, because I didn't know we were going to talk chicken fried steak. I'm actually part of a chicken fried steak like diners club, and it's not like something so like
Really?
extreme or elite. No, I'm not shitting you, man. Like Nils, one of the guys, the guy who owns Rainbow Studios here in town, started up this chicken fried steak club, because those of us who like it definitely want to have the good ones, but we also like to, just like hang out at the places that are like diners where you're more about the ambiance or the stories that you share there. And we don't do it like every month, but more than half a dozen times a year, probably 6-8 times a year. And I haven't been to one in a couple of iterations, but yeah, it's just like 10, 12 core people, and then maybe another dozen that rotate in and out. It can be a good time getting together around just one dish.
Gizzard Gary's out there. Good evening.
That's what they do in Nebraska. Hey, let's have a steak club where we go eat one kind of steak.
Well,
Do you-
dudes
Well,
and
I
food,
would, but it conflicts with my other steak clubs that I have on that day.
Do you
Pork
guys
chop
have?
club is Tuesday.
Do you have membership cards?
No, no. And you can bring guests. It's not one of those kind of things. It's not like all closed door and whatever, like secret handshake, skull and bones or whatever. So
And we're gonna go eat meat.
Yeah,
at
it's
my
casual.
Meat club. You want to go eat meat at my meat club with me?
Michael Dunn's out
If-
there.
if barbecue was here, he would have just run with the whole meat club thing. So I'm glad he's not. After a fashion,
Tara
I take a
saying,
lot of hits for that.
Tara's saying 20 years ago, chicken fried steak was good at a truck stop. Now it's prepackaged shit.
See, that's
Yeah,
what I would
fair.
think, is that a lot of this stuff is versions of what it was back in the day. And it was what it was back in the day because it was coming off of like whatever, like the truck stop was getting the stuff that the grandma didn't want, and then the other restaurant didn't want, and they took it, right? And then they made it edible with the chilies and the stews, right?
For sure, there's a pattern there.
Gunmetal guy
Lingo?
saying chicken fried steak and a glass of sweet tea have saved my life after many overnights.
Is that what this is? Chicken fried steak in a sweet tea glass?
I was going to ask you guys, what do you think this is?
That's
Because it
amazing.
looks like oysters in
Looks
some
like
type
salmon.
of shot glass with. Is that tomato?
It's just shots of
Okay, it's like
whale lingua.
What the fuck is this?
Ambergris.
oh no.
Yeah, that's some kind of tartar sauce with a gross knot on top.
Is that almost looks like a minced salmon on the bottom.
Oh,
Oh.
God.
What do they do?
Oh, like
something
a smoked
that?
salmon
Puree it?
shooter?
Yeah,
Smoked salmon shooter would be good.
with an
With a
oyster
bunch
on
of
top.
Oyster on top or raw oyster.
I just
on
don't
top?
get the oyster thing. It's like it's 1 inch
Yeah.
by 2 inches as you're panning left and right. I can't distinguish much of anything. So maybe we can deconstruct it by like what the stuff is also on the plate. So is that
where's-
lemon or orange?
Where's
Lemons.
that picture? from?
Lemon.
Okay,
Where'd you get the picture?
No, I can't say. It's
Oh.
confidential.
All right.
so lemon
place I used to
going
work.
with the seafood. Lemon going with the seafood thing totally works there. And the oyster, it does as well. And the color, as long as we're not being fooled by the salmon color not being salmon, I can't think what else would we be.
This
Like
oyster
so-
is trying to escape.
Okay, so we're definite on oyster.
Oh yeah, that's an oyster.
Okay, and it's not roe. It doesn't look like boba or something like that. That's not like any kind of roe
No,
underneath the dollop on top. Okay,
That's
cool.
not roe.
Bloody Mary then? Bloody Mary shooters with oysters?
No, that how thick that is. To me, that the color and the
jelly.
thickness looks to me like salmon.
Mhm. Oh, an aspic, like salmon aspic. That'd be an interesting one.
That's what you pick out of a salmon's butt. Ass.
An aspic, nice dude. That's the tail end, yeah, for sure. You make chicken fried or yeah, whatever. With that.
Gizzard Gary's saying cocktail sauce with spoiled mayonnaise.
See, you order this on a first date. If she does all 6, you got to keep her.
Okay, so oyster with some provocative name associated with it.
Well, I honestly don't know what it is. I got no idea.
Uh-huh.
Who said he feels uncomfortable? How you people talk about food. Yeah, to
remove
me that looks like salmon on the bottom. That color and the texture is. I'm pretty sure that's salmon.
I'm with that.
So it's kind of some kind of salmon oyster shooter.
If it was lighter colored, I go mousseline, maybe as well. Interesting. Well, can you let us know? Is there like an answer tonight, or is this like a mystery for you to solve and like report back kind of deal?
I'll look it up. That might have been like a special. I don't know if it's going to be on their menu. But I'm looking it up as we speak.
Right on. Well, interest is piqued for sure on that. So how do you guys feel about gravies on things? Not just like the appearance of gravy on a plate, but since like chicken fried steak was part of the deal, there's often a battle over whether or not you go with cream or you go with beef gravy. Any other things that you guys might sub in there? And if not, you go brown or you go white?
I like gravy. I mean, for a diner, I'll judge a diner by how its biscuits and gravies are. If they have good biscuits and gravy, it's a good diner. If they don't, it's not a good diner.
Never been a fan of gravy, and it's like barbecue sauce. It's one of those things that one person will say this is gravy, another person will say that's gravy, and like one of them is white, one of them's brown. Like they're too big of a spectrum. Or whatever.
Baron is back in the stacks doing the research. Sometimes I go
About
like,
gravy?
Seeing Tara saying red gravy, and there's people that'll, they'll think tomato sauce is gravy, or somehow tomatoes and gravy. Okay.
Well, that's one thing that Italians get upset about. Gravy versus sauce.
yeah, I wasn't trying to like start a dispute, especially not with the Italians. Like, okay, I'll grant it that that's your gravy, your Sunday gravy. I get that as an exception.
Moose said he'll stab you if you don't like gravy.
So the gravy, like on Thanksgiving, where Grandma's making it out of like real whatever the way that's made, right? Flour and gross off of the bird or whatever. That's different than whatever you get out of a can, and that's what most of the diners are giving you. Some, number 10 can white gravy, number 10 can brown gravy. So if you can
Yeah,
find
or-
a diner or truck stop where they know how to actually make it and all of that, I think that's the reason people remember it being good. But I don't like the like
Yeah,
cornstarch in salt water.
For those who haven't worked in a restaurant, number 10 can is just a large can of whatever.
Yeah, it's like the basic commissary can, like the big giant
Yeah.
coffee can looking thing.
Then you open them, you got this big manual can opener that's bolted to a table. Slam it down, and then a big crank to open the can.
So in junior high, I was a chubby kid growing up. I'm still a big dude, right? There was a creative junior high principal who decided that part of a disciplinary action was also going to include some physical fitness. So for like 4 months and then into the next year, because I ended up liking it, I was assigned the responsibility of showing up when the delivery truck got there. Our cafeteria was on the second floor. There was no elevator. So I lugged those cases of number 10 cans up this double flight of stairs back and forth. And they didn't let me use a hand truck, for God's sake. So I got like great legs for football that year, among other things, and the experience. But the way you described that, and you like looked up and you pulled up that handle, I could see it in your hand, slamming it down and doing the crank around. Like, that's fun. And once they would I never liked the idea of once I was dumping out a number 10 can of veg all or whatever. It was pretty disgusting shit. But it was still a really satisfying experience. And hanging out with the cooks before school, it ended up being a pretty decent experience, really. So,
Yeah, I spent a couple years dishwashing and prep cooking at a few different places. Oh, I was trying to look up, see what that was, the oyster and salmon cocktail, whatever it is, but I cannot find any pictures that looks like that was. Oh,
I'm getting close.
let's go.
Don't people eat hot sauce with oysters? So it could be some kind of a hot sauce type of tartar, or what is that called? Seafood? Is it called seafood sauce?
Could be.
what, like cocktail sauce? What are you talking about?
Cocktail sauce. Yeah, that's what I'm talking. Could be something like that.
New York Outcast is saying they got you for free labor, DJ.
They certainly did.
They have to keep the cafeteria on the second floor because if there's a flood of corn, then they have to be above all that.
And oh my God, we had so much corn. I don't know about other people's public school lunch experiences, but we did. It was either corn or green beans, or that veg all would be like once a week. But that was easily our vegetable choice 4 days a week in lunch.
Okay, I got an answer. It is a vodka oyster shooter. It's vodka, oyster, and cocktail sauce.
Nope.
Yeah.
All right.
Why?
So we got the
you go.
oyster shooter part, right? And tail ended it with the cocktail sauce thing. That works.
Where do they put the vodka in that? Like on top? And then it would be gross. If they put it underneath, I guess.
Yeah,
it would
it's probably
still be
mixed
gross.
with the cocktail sauce.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
It would be
blended.
gross too. I think.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of cocktail sauce to begin with.
Imagine
Used to be-
losing that dinner.
Used to be a
Is it
huge
the horse?
fan of vodka.
You got exactly one way to swallow that right, and then every other way ends horribly.
So is it the horseradish sauce?
Doesn't matter.
I don't know,
has to be.
but I mean, I didn't hate it. I just didn't care for it. Like tartar sauce, I can't stand tartar sauce.
No, I don't know how people eat that. That's weird. Do you ever put the oil and vinegar or whatever they do in Europe on their fish when they eat fried fish?
Malt vinegar? Hell yeah, man.
vinegar.
I don't like vinegar.
Ooh,
It's
I
like-
do.
That's like putting cleaning supplies on your food. Like, oh,
Well,
yeah.
you're
Man,
douching your food.
man, oh, you're both crazy. Come on now. You're like anti vinegar league or something. What's going on with that? No, come on, sour. Essentially sour. That's a good contrast thing.
I don't
The
know.
sweet
no, it's
and,
just
so
like
to speak.
spraying water on your food. I didn't get it, and it was sour. Yeah, it was foul tasting water. I think the alternative was ketchup or the white stuff, which I didn't like.
Not at any of the chip shops that I went to, man. They would like totally look at. Well, I mean, I don't even know if they had it available. Like tartar sauce just wasn't a thing at all, and
But the
ketchup
sauce
was less of a thing too.
That was definitely
Hmm?
tartar sauce always with fish sticks.
Oh, I didn't mean public school. I meant chip shops in the UK, like in Scotland and England.
Oh no, not in Scotland. I have no idea in Scotland. Yeah, I meant here.
Yeah.
And
like-
it'll be like a ketchup packet of tartar sauce. It's not going to be like they're making it.
Like there would be mayonnaise before there would be tartar sauce. Like the whole, I have no idea where the chopped, pickle, onion, like however people construct their tartar sauces. I have no idea where that whole thing comes from. But you guys don't dig it. I do. Again, that's a version of like sour, the tartness of, because I use like dill. I don't like sweet pickle, and like onion. I'll crush some of that especially with some fish sticks, man. If I get nostalgic.
This looks like a war crime.
It looks like roe on top with
That's
egg
roe.
under that, and maybe an oyster,
And an oyster.
and then the
Pico de gallo.
what's
Is that
the,
a soft egg?
No, that's the.
that
oyster.
looks like a raw egg.
That's a raw egg, yeah.
Okay, but what's the white underneath the yolk?
That's the oyster.
Oyster.
Oh, that's the oyster. Okay.
And
Sorry,
then
fellas.
whatever
Pico de
the
gallo.
chop-
They put an oyster on there. They cracked a raw egg in it, and then they put like a watermelon Slurpee on top.
chopped. What's
Oh
the
yeah, with the
chop-
roe on top though, salmon roe. I'd do that.
what's the chopped tomato and
It's pico de gallo.
is that
Or it could be poke. I mean, that could be chopped salmon. That also could be beef.
Ugh.
Japanese
Well,
oyster
it could
shooter.
be.
That's
It
what it's
could be.
called.
Okay.
does it
I
say
think it
what's
could
in it?
definitely be.
I
Fine
can
way would
check.
be interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They don't have tomatoes in Japan, do they? I've never seen anything in Japan with tomatoes on it.
Actually, you're right.
They don't use it. It's like they don't use cheese either, hardly. Like it's just one of the ingredients they don't like or whatever. So I'm guessing it's probably salmon, raw fish, or something chopped up in there, or like a crab, something red that's raw and chopped up in there.
Okay. Zesty
I'm gonna go with-
spiced sorbet.
Yeah, so
Sanbai
it's
zoo.
watermelon
I don't know what that is. Fresh quail egg and oyster.
What was the third thing then? Because that was what the red stuff was.
Sanbai zoo.
Spell it.
SANBAI space ZU.
Oh, I thought it was SEENBYAZOO.
So it's not like umebushi or something like that. Is it plum or cherry?
I don't know, but I can Google it.
Interesting.
No,
Yeah, man.
I've eaten,
This is
I've eaten
awesome.
raw quail eggs before. That's a thing. In sushi restaurants, you can get quail eggs, all different kinds of eggs.
Budman
It's a-
78's out there.
it's a vinegar dressing.
Okay. So where is that in the glass though?
I don't know. Probably
all
down
over.
here.
It's all in
I'm
the
guessing.
giant liquid. You can tell the whole thing's like submersed in some kind of gross liquid.
It's like this is the sorbet, quail egg, oyster, and then
Look at the big air
Sanbai
bubbles.
zoo.
It's all underwater. There's big bubbles under the egg and stuff. It's all underwater.
This is in
Vinegar.
Seattle. If you
Is
want
there
to
a
try it.
I wish it
vodka
was-
in there also?
Hmm?
Is this got
Is that
vodka?
alcoholic?
Oh, I don't think so.
And then it looks like is it a spoon or a chunk of oyster shell on the left side of the first one. So that's gross.
Like right there.
Ew,
Break a
no,
piece of
not in a
chunk shell
glass.
off in there, so it's outside.
Maybe air bubble.
That's like the oyster's arm,
It's
probably.
the oyster. guts or whatever.
Short
Because
arm.
The oyster is all the snot and the muscle.
Oyster arms. Bivalve.
So Two Live
Shock me.
Moo wants to know what everybody had for dinner tonight.
Chicken
I had
strips and French
rice.
fries.
What'd you have, DJ?
Rice. got out the rice cooker, made some rice.
What'd you have, G Webs?
Sort of a celery, onion, rice soup thing. But I've been playing around with some weird spices that I got at the dollar store.
I don't know. Depends on when you work graveyard. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner no longer have their meaning. It's just you just have different meals. I had something before I laid down, but that was like noon. I had some McDonald's. Had a terrible McDonald's chicken sandwich. It
I don't think I've ever eaten a chicken sandwich at McDonald's.
it's
Well,
one
those
of
things
the,
are kind of synonymous, aren't they?
well, it's one of the newer ones. So it's supposed to be better, but there wasn't any condiments on it, and it had two kind of dried out pickles. It
Christ.
was pretty bad.
What did you throw down for that, man?
I don't know. It was confusing when we ordered. I told my son, said, "Hey, something's gonna get messed up here. We're not gonna get what we ordered, or they will not have ordered part of what we ordered." And it was kind of a big jumbled mess.
You could tell from the crew or something, or how busy it was, or something like that.
Just kind of the way the order went.
It's like you can go to a place and you can be like, "This guy's an idiot. Like, this isn't going to be right."
But so that and I had like 2 of the cheeseburgers. I still like McDonald's cheeseburgers. They're not great cheeseburgers, but I guess it'd be kind of a comfort food, from my childhood. So
I maintain that.
Program to eat that stuff.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like post show.
I was going to say, and I had a supervisor when I worked for RPS who got bought out by FedEx. It's a small shipping company, and he asked what would be an example of quality, and his example was McDonald's. And it wasn't so much that this was back in the 90s before they tried to get fancy to compete, but it wasn't so much that the food is great, it's because it's consistent. You go to any McDonald's in the US and you will get the exact same thing. You know what you're going to get, and that is a definition of quality.
Like the way the Coca-Cola is. I mean, you go plus minus on some things on that menu based on who's manning the grill kind of deal. Everything is timed out, should be that it processes, plus minus like a trace percentage. The Coke is like the foundation of all that. I had a McJob for like 2-3 weeks, and I'm not trying to speak as an expert on that chain whatsoever, but the Coke is like a really big deal. And if you have it other places, it's just not the same as McDonald's Coke is.
That's what the Yankee Marshal, he talks about that. He'll get Coke from McDonald's because it is different. It is the best. He says I don't like Coke, but he says it's the best Coke, the ratio.
Well, when you look at a soda machine anywhere, like the nozzle part, that's where all the little valves are. So when you go in there, you can adjust all that. So back in the day when I was doing that kind of stuff, you could go to the different stores, and each of the managers, because we had a bunch of different stores, each of the managers that knew about that would tweak with their syrup mixes. And sometimes it was the manager would tweak the soda, more sugar, more mix or whatever on certain drinks because they had customers that dug that and they wanted it that way. And then other managers would be tweaking it backwards because they knew they could save a lot of money by not squirting as much soda in there. And if nobody complained, they could back that stuff off. And, maybe in a time that another store would go through 3 boxes of syrup, you'd go through 2 boxes of syrup. It'll literally be that different. If you give half again as much syrup to a cup, it's going to taste a lot different. And I mean, we would do it to the Mountain Dew just because we'd be in there at 6 a.m. fixing stuff. So we go in there and tweak it to exactly where we wanted, pour our sodas the way we wanted them, and just back them back off to wherever the store wanted them. But that was something that it was like a subtle war between the managers and the chain, because the chain was like, we want soda to be the same around all the stores. We don't want it to be different every time you go to a store. You get a different kind of Mountain Dew or whatever. But the managers, like I say, they would literally care, and it got to be a thing where we'd have to go in and adjust it because we'd be there, or change, fix all the machines or whatever. So we'd set it just like setting the thermostat. As soon as we'd leave, they'd set it right back.
In my younger days, back when I drank a lot of Mountain Dew, I would say something. If the mix was off at a fountain.
Mountain Dew's the only people that would. It's Coke and everybody, they'll be like, Mountain Dews will be like, hey, what's wrong with your soda? You need the Mountain Dew.
Now I don't. I don't really drink sodas anymore. I don't drink carbonated drinks. So if it's off, then I'll just toss it. Be on my way. Two Live Moose said, based on these responses, I don't accept any of your culinary critiques of the previous foods.
Now, come on, Moo. Like Moo, straight shooting. When was the last time that you pounded some McDonald's? I mean, it can't be that long ago. And that's kind of where we started with this, Boss, with the hitting the McDonald's, drive-through. There's a venue in town where there's a McDonald's 2 blocks. I've been stopping at that McDonald's because it's a 24-hour. After going to shows at that place for like 30 years now. Like, it's ingrained in me. So like twice a month. I don't do it every damn time, but at least once a month I'm going through the drive-thru and getting my my double cheese.
Except for going to the bathrooms at McDonald's, which I will do. I haven't bought nothing at a McDonald's for that long.
It's McDonald's is ever since the cough. It used to be when somebody went through the drive-thru. I've never worked at McDonald's, so this is just stuff that I've heard and seen. But once that order is taken at the drive-thru, there used to be a timer that started, because there was a time limit to get that order out and that customer on their way. And it doesn't seem like that timer is there, or that time is a lot longer than it used to be.
Well, it's not going to a grill anymore. It's like they're being done and they're put in warmers, so it's steam trays, and
that's McDonald's recipe though.
Yeah.
Is to anticipate what they're going to have for the rush and then build, so that all you had to do is turn around and grab it and put it in a bag. You weren't for a while. You couldn't even ask for like a no lettuce, right? You wanted no lettuce, you got it and took the lettuce off. But then they started to do the special orders or whatever. But that was a McDonald's thing. Is it still like that? That's even how they set up their store, where they got that, whatever you're calling it, where they're all sitting in a stack.
Yeah, that was one thing I wasn't sure, is since they're trying to, they changed their menu a little bit to compete. Is that where some of the time is taken up?
I would assume that they would just use that during the rushes, because the restaurants will have, obvious, depending if they're open for breakfast, but lunch and dinner rushes, commuter, whatever the makeup of the area is, either the dinner time or the commuter traffic, they're going to get some rush, and they're going to know we're going to make, 200 sandwiches, so we might as well make 80 of them, just stock, because no one's going to care. No one's going to, at least this many people are just going to order them.
Specifically to the McDonald's thing, in the late 80s when I was there, like mid 80s actually, sorry, they would put up, I worked counter, but they would put up like 10 cheeseburgers. They're going to be dressed the way, it's the way they come on the menu kind of thing. They didn't anticipate any kind of special orders, but they would rack, like G is suggesting, during peak, it'd be like 20 of this, 20 of this. There's 5 fillets that are in there, but they would have little L-shaped aluminum brackets that had numbers on them. And so when the line finished the wrap and put them in the down the little chute to the front, it would have one of those. It was a time indicator, and the rule was when that time indicator expired, you chucked it in the waste bucket. And I was like almost indignant because I hate food waste of any sort. Feeding people is one of I hated it. And I mean, the stuff was still comestible, obviously still reasonable. It's one of those things when you're talking about quality, they're not going to serve something that at that point was cold. They're completely away from that. It's like on spot kind of deal. I don't see them putting anything down hoppers unless it's like because they're wrapping them because they yanked them out with some tweezers or something. It's ridiculous.
Jason J's out there. Good evening. Yeah, it was either my son said either McDonald's or Jack in the Box. And the McDonald's was on the way home, and the Jack in the Box we'd have to go a little bit out of our way to a busier part of town. So plus McDonald's to me still has the best fries, even though they're not as good as they used to be because they changed their oil. But they're still better fries than most of the other places.
That's kind of the gold standard. McDonald's fries, gotta say.
I like the style of theirs with the skinnier fry, long skinny fry. But obviously, Five Guys I like more now because they're paying me to eat them. But those are good still. The big thick ass, well cooked fries. But when you get those, I guess Burger King is pretty much the same as McDonald's, right? But a couple of the places will have like, I don't know what they are. They're like the biggest gross fry where it's just like eating a bunch of starch, and you gotta put sauce on it because it's just so starchy and gross. Like the potato is so big. I don't really like those kind of fries. Like those crinkle cut fries at some places, they can be good, but most of the time it's just like eating a big raw baked potato or something. There's way too much potato in them.
To address Moo, what he was saying about the McDonald's. If it's something you like and it hasn't killed you yet, just don't think about it. Just enjoy it.
Man, that's Taco Bell right there.
What?
You ever got a job at your favorite restaurant before? And then you go in the kitchen, and there's like a rat sitting on the French fry sack, and you're like, oh, fuck.
Yeah, I went through the drive-through at a place one time, and this one I was working at the restaurant, so I had my work truck, and they're like, oh, you know how to fix a refrigerator? I'm like, yeah. And they're like, oh, fix a refrigerator, we'll pay you. I'm like, hell yeah. Went in there, and it's super gross. Exactly. And I'm like, oh.
You're like, I can't eat here anymore.
I still ate there because all restaurants are gross. People think they're not. They get cleaned up once in a while. But we eat some.
Matt, do we want to start telling walk-in stories?
No, let's not.
Okay. Because
You
damn.
can tell some.
Usually this chat makes me hungry. Like we'll talk about food at least a little bit, or
Not
because
this
of the
one.
long form conversation, we'll go into the next snacky period for me. I'm not sure it's going to happen tonight.
So you had the option of Burger King or McDonald's. Like, do you have whatever? Like, I don't want to say even a chain, but like a local place that maybe is 2 shops, or like it's a family thing, so maybe there's 3, but more like 1, and they're not trying to be McDonald's; they're just trying to be themselves. And then the question, I'm sure you have those. So the real question is, do you guys eat them as a family, and do kids cherish that, or are the kids looking for I want to be the same as everybody? I want to eat the McDonald's that I see in the movies. All this appeal of the fast food chains, or does the local have any?
I don't know. When my son was little, it wasn't so much any specific chain. It was just be chicken nuggets for somewhere, fries from somewhere. He'd be happy. I I was talking about that. I can't remember if it was our chat or somebody else's chat, but there used to be a little burger shack that was near our old house that, fresh meat from the butcher in town. Really, really good until they sold the business, and then the people who bought it wanted to concentrate on barbecue, so their burgers sucked after that. There is a place, I don't know, it's a mile from here that their fries suck and their burgers aren't bad, but they only have what they call their goop, basically the special sauce, and it's not that great. I don't think there's any other kind of burger shack type places. There's a Five Guys. I love Five Guys. I don't think the burgers are great, but for some reason I really like them.
I love that they have an open kitchen. You can see everything they're doing.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I've been going to more and more of them because I get paid to eat there. So you can get paid to eat there, by the way. But yeah, I think that's one of the coolest things is they're super clean. Like it's all the stuff that you'd think you'd want from a chain, like a super clean, like the management. I don't know, are they one of those places where they pay the kids really well? Because I mean, unless I'm crazy, they seem like their crews are always super happy to be working there. I've only seen one kid flaking off, and they, I don't know, their pace must be good because they all seem to be competent. In my experience, you've usually got in any crew of kids, 2 kids that don't know what's going on, and it just doesn't seem like you got those at the Five Guys. And then that open kitchen, like people just sit around, even if they're waiting for food for a minute, because you have to wait. I don't know if you know, but they won't drop. They're not supposed to drop fries until you order them. So that means 5 minutes for the fries, no matter what. So everybody's waiting 5 minutes, period. So they're looking for a 7-minute return time on your order. So that means for 7 minutes, everybody's sitting there with smiles on their faces, looking at the kitchen. Like you're saying, like there's no, even the milkshake machine is down low, so you can see right through there. I think they're, I don't know if I don't go to any other really restaurants. So to me, that seems like some elements that make that shop, like if you're going to wait for your food anyway, you might as well go there, right?
Woods is asking about Burgerville. There is one in Centralia that we lived in Centralia. They were good. We didn't go there very often. The shakes were pretty good.
Yeah, I either do Five Guys or a local place.
I don't go to the same place twice in a row. So, if we go to Five Guys, next time might be Burger King or Jack in the Box or Taco Bell, Taco Time.
You trying to stay ahead of the spitters?
No, just I don't.
That's the guy that didn't tip us. Quick spit his burger.
I tip. I'm a good tipper. Just the tip. Even if the service isn't great, you won't get a great tip, but I always tip. And that's a top tip. If you get bad service and you want to let them know, leave a small tip. If you don't tip, they might think you forgot. If you tip small, then they know they did a bad job.
Or they just figure you're a bad tipper, or like you're somebody who doesn't tip, right? So they can blow that off as like, oh, that's just one of those people that doesn't tip.
So we have a local chain that's pretty cool. This World War II vet from Chicago renovated an A&W in town, and then he's just like, I'm going to do my own gig. And so he opened up a drive-in with car hops, like traditional style. And so by the late 50s, he started to open up a couple of other stores. The name of this chain is Broncos. And it's still one of my favorite places because for a couple of different really good reasons. They do hand cut fries, and it's one of those where the large is they just take both hands and they go into a hotel pan of them that have been fried and salted. Bam, that's what you get. So it's a mound of these damn things. There is no ketchup. And like that, I am like anti-ketchup dude. So it's pickle, mustard, onion, which is the way that I order my burgers, like almost like universally. So that's another plus. And then at the location on Leavenworth Street, it still has the action moving neon sign of a cowboy throwing a lasso back and forth. And that there's a strip there in Midtown where the same neon company made a bunch of signs for businesses up and down the street. And that one is one of the few that still remains, and it's still fascinating. It was the first one that I saw in motion when I was a little kid. Still there.
There is a little restaurant that's near my work that they do, you know, when you get fries with whatever, you get a lot of fries. And the fries weren't bad. They were, you know, not perfect, but they were okay. And the burgers were really good, but they were overcooked. It was kind of weird. You know, they overcook them, but they were still really good. Woods was saying, he's talking about the Burgerville. They have a 50-mile rule. Everything is 50 miles from the store. And that's what the Five Guys, they'll put where their potatoes came from.
Yep.
For their fries.
Mm-hmm.
They'll put up a sign. And it'll be somewhere from the Northwest. Moose said, we were in a limo at the drive-thru. Dude wouldn't acknowledge the order. We had to pull up to the window, and the driver had to convince them that they were serious. Was that like prom? You're out cruising in a limo?
You're talking about doing 100 hamburger order or 100 taco order. A lot of times they'll tell you that you need to order that ahead of time. Like a competent manager will tell you, like, no, you got to have ordered that ahead of time because you're going to wipe us out. You're just going to kill us for the rest of the night. And we'll make one order. You may or may not be happy as a catering order, kind of impromptu, but you're going to kill all the rest of our orders for the rest of the night. We're going to be out for a whole bunch of people, and they're not going to come back to our restaurant because we're inconsistent. Like that's probably a shift manager running it. Right?
Have a good night, Tara.
So, like 20 blocks up from the place I just described was my first job. It was at a place called Sam's, local chain. They had 2 in Omaha, 1 in Council Bluffs. The first weekend of the month, every month, think about what disbursement is made at the beginning of a month, every month. The special was 4 hamburgers for $1. This is 1984. 3 cheese for $1. People would come in, they had their checks, and would order up and fill their freezer, basically. So they would hit the count, families would come in and hit the counter. This was like celebration meal. This might be the meal out to eat for the month. And what a way to get it done, right? So it'd be like, they'd be calling back orders from the front, like drop 20 cheese, drop 30 this, drop 40 hamburgers, like fucking pickle only or whatever. That was such a trial by fire kind of job. My grill, it was myself during that parts of those shifts, and it was massive. And man, learning efficiencies like that. The cooler was right behind me. It was like I wasn't more than 2 steps from anything except the fryers, and somebody else was supposed to be helping me with those. And people would just like murder whole bags of those. And these are like regular size. These were McDonald's sized burgers. It wasn't like these things were White Castles and tiny. It was ridiculous. Enough fast food.
Yeah, there's Dick's. There's one, at least there used to be one in Seattle and one in Spokane. Really good. They had a walk-up window. It was, I'm remembering from more than 20 years ago. But, it was pretty fast and fairly cheap, but really good burgers. I think I remember it having good fries too. Moose said we were on a work trip with my team for the 100 tacos. Yeah, it was 1 a.m.
Most I ever ordered was 30 cheeseburgers. And the guy was not happy.
Tara said when I worked the rail, we would shut restaurants down, ordering 150 number ones for a crew, but they would call ahead. Oh, man, she's out. So
We would
drive
do that a
safe,
lot
bundle up.
at the restaurants because it was a sandwich place. The place I was talking about. It's like a summary sandwich type of place, and they would get that kind of thing. We need a whatever the organization is, but we need many. But as long as you call ahead, then what they do is they just bring some extra staff in, and then they order a bunch of extra food. And then instead of the morning being really slow and sitting around all morning, they're just slamming out sandwiches like if it was lunch rush. And now you got pile of hundreds of sandwiches sitting there for whenever the people come and pick them up. Plus they put them all, they all look nice. Nobody's in a hurry. Everybody knows I'm going to sit down and make 25 turkey sandwiches. So they all look freaking, nice. And then they just stick them in the walk-in freezer until somebody shows, or not freezer, but walk-in refrigerator until somebody shows up. But when you're talking about what DJ's talking about, you probably anticipated that every first of the month. So the rest of the month, you're sitting around at 3/4 speed. And then you consider the first of the month full speed.
Oh yeah, they would walk it in sometimes second week of the month and second weekend. Oh, and I still have it's in storage. I still have the banner that canvas with I don't know, like the heavy paint coating on it that would be strung up in front of it, in front of the store at the time. Right when I stopped working there is when they discontinued that. So I'm just like, dude, that's mine. Score. It was in the band room for years. It's like 20 feet long, 4 feet high.
Wood said he met Sir Mix-a-Lot at a Dick's. There you go. At Dick's, you cannot order changes. They have 6 options, and that's it.
Oh, like kind of
my
soup Nazi
local-
style.
That's how McDonald's started, right? Period.
Yeah.
My local has 3 options: hamburger, cheeseburger, bacon cheeseburger. That's it.
No
And they
Coke,
just come
Pepsi.
with the same stuff, period. Like lettuce and tomato or something, you don't get to change it.
They don't add veggies. It's cheeseburger, bacon cheeseburger, or plain hamburger.
So you get condiments and packets like on the side kind of dealie.
Cheeseburger, chip.
No,
What about-
no condiments.
You've been to
They
Foot
got
Ruckers
like
before?
this special sauce. That's it. There's like
Yeah.
chopped up onion in it.
But you
Been to,
gotta
like,
have
Foot Ruckers,
respect.
They give you the hamburger, and then you just go over there, and then they got lettuce and pickles and tomatoes and all the stuff, or if you want it or not. And it's like a salad bar almost. Been to that kind of place?
Oh,
Yeah, there's
no,
like-
I haven't.
Yeah, Fuddruckers, long neckers, like that was a thing for a while. Like the condiment bar of like fresh vegetables and whatnots.
Yeah, I really.
Like some of those places were pretty good, but
I mean, like you could get a Fuddruckers and it would be gross, and they're trying to save money, and it would be like, what are those things called? Roma tomatoes, like fake tomatoes and like bad lettuce, and it was just not appealing. Like technically they had stuff there, but you go to one where they're buying normal produce, and I don't know what percentage of a hamburger is the stuff you put on it. Are you like 90% of a hamburger is the meat and bread, and that's it, or is it that's the basis, and then the rest, 50% of the hamburger is what you put on it?
I don't know,
70 burger.
Yeah. I'm agreeing with what you're saying, DJ.
Yeah, so if you're just trying to eat meat, then you could care less about the toppings. But if you're trying to make this hamburger different from that hamburger based on, the rest of it, besides just, the amount of meat and the cook of the meat or something.
Well, I want whatever is with, on the burger to add to the flavor, but not be the flavor of the burger.
Yeah, I hear you.
That's a nice rule of thumb. I was going to say that you got to respect places that like they do things their way. And I was joking, like, soup Nazi style or whatever. There are lots of reasons for doing that. But like, kind of like with my local Broncos, it's like it's pickle, mustard, onion. I mean, you can ask for them not to be on there, and you will get ketchup, in packets if you ask for it. But they're not going to do it for you, kind of thing. And I kind of like that that indignant stand, against ketchup. Right? There's a place in Kansas City that I really like, and their style is I mean, they've been around, everybody follows White Castle in time, but they do a thing where they do like grilled onions, and it's like an esteemed bun. So, but their burgers are like wide or larger, but and just a little bit thicker than, say, White Castle. So I'm not saying that one spun from the other or anything like that, but that's the way they serve them. If you want them another way, you just aren't going to get it. And another example of this is the way we do. And people will go there. It's 24/7, 365. It's walk up. You can go in. It's still the same little counter that it was in the 1950s. And yeah, it's Town Topic is the name of that one.
You're either going there because of the recipe is so good that they add special salt to their beef or something, so it's different, or like they get their beef from this alpine ridge where the grass eat different, or the meat eat different grass or whatever, right? Or it's the ambiance of the restaurant or something, and you're just eating whatever. Here's a grilled cheese sandwich. Shut up, because you're eating it here, right? So I think there's something to that. Like if you're just like, here, the hamburger's the commodity, and you're eating it at our restaurant. We got a playground, or you're eating it at our restaurant. You get a toy. Who cares about the food, because the food is food. That's the attitude, right? Like food is food. Eat our food because you get a toy, versus our food has this ingredients and we make it, we smash it or we do something to it. And this is the way our grandma made it. This is our restaurant. This is the way we make our hamburger. You can go somewhere else and get a sandwich that's a hamburger made a different way, but this is the way we make ours. So yeah, going into that restaurant and saying, well, I want it to be like McDonald's. I don't know if that's an insult, but it's just sort of a waste of time, right? Like that's like buying a pickup truck and turning it into a sports car. Like,
yeah, we're not here to provide you a facsimile of some other restaurant's burger. We prefer to do it just the way we do. Yeah.
And NPR, what does that call it? Just as a vanilla, and then we're just going to add sprinkles to it.
I don't have a problem with businesses like that. If I don't like the way that is, then I don't go there.
Yeah,
but,
exactly.
I don't. Like Burger King, you can have it your way, but I don't make changes. If it's a place where when you order, you're expected to order the toppings that you want, then I will. But other than that, I just take the burger how they make it. Otherwise, I wouldn't. If I didn't like it, I wouldn't be buying it from them.
I think that was a lot of the appeal of the places like Fuddruckers and Longneckers, was that it wasn't coming finished in a basket or wrapped or whatever. It was that, okay, you get to see the meat that they grilled on the on the grills, like as you go through cafeteria style, and then you take and you put what you want on. The super bonus for Fuddruckers as a teenager wasn't the burgers, it was the damn fries in that condiment bar. Because if you wanted to go in and drop $3 on those fries, they had pump cheese. You could make a salad out of the shredded lettuce and the onions and the tomatoes and everything. You go in and like pre-game and just like tank for $3 or $4. It was crazy good. I mean, it was bad food, but it's crazy good. Crazy good bar.
You like it? I like Fuddruckers food. It was only one Fuddruckers in Vegas, and then it's gone.
I was wrong. They have 4 options. They have a fish sandwich.
Hey.
I've never been inside of Fuddruckers. I've seen one from the outside. I think there used to be one in Spokane. So when we'd go up, hang out there, I'd see it because it was near whatever restaurant that we'd always go to, but never went in.
What's the Office Space? You seen Office Space?
Yeah.
You know how that one restaurant always makes fun of the garbage on the walls and they have to wear stuff? That's sort of like
Flair.
Yeah, they do stuff.
The TGI Fridays.
They're all different, but they're all full of stuff like that.
What was it called? Shenanigans or something?
Yeah, it was trying to make fun of some actual bar, right? But
Yeah.
Fuddruckers is sort of that same style. Like they just go buy whatever from thrift stores and put it in their store. But I think it was supposed to be like a sports restaurant, also a restaurant. Like they weren't trying to be just a sports restaurant, but they could handle sports stuff.
Woods was asking about Zips, and I'm looking at their website, and it looks like they're all in Spokane. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7
Interesting
locations.
how many like fast food things are known to your area, but they didn't grow. Like, what's up with that? Is it? I know a bunch of them were in LA, but they grew. Like, I don't know.
Well, I don't know, man. It's like, think about how many places that McDonald's is. There isn't a place where McDonald's isn't. They just fuck clobbered everybody that they wanted to. You couldn't stand up to Croc or anybody else, as they just spread. It's like,
Yeah, well, I don't think there
whoa.
was much interest in standing up. There was a lot of people just giving up. People leaned into the whole corporate food, right? Like oh yeah, we finally can get the food that we want the same everywhere. I think people dig it. So it wasn't like I don't think other restaurants couldn't compete with McDonald's. Nobody would go to other restaurants once, like when McDonald's was still kind of new. Everybody dug it. Nobody hated it yet.
Well, and the franchise opportunities, there was no reason for a lot of folks, unless they wanted to be one of those, I'm going to piss into the wind with my special recipe kind of thing. I mean, the stuff is all on a timetable. When you put in this amount, you're going to be profitable by this, by this date. Essentially, the prospectuses that they offer are down to the month, where you can start to calculate your return for retirement kind of thing. It's insane money to begin with, but if you have the money to play with, and you want to take that, I mean, what kind of risk do you have, really? How often does a McDonald's close down, sort of deal? When they do, they kind of like move on, but they usually renovate before they do. So, I mean, I don't know. We kind of seem to be fixated on the McDonald's thing. I'm sorry if I've turned it that way.
Well, no, because that's the name. That's probably if you asked 100 people to name a burger chain, McDonald's would probably be number one. Just
Oh, yeah.
they're the original, and
Worldwide even.
yeah, and eating at McDonald's in Japan, the burgers taste just like any other McDonald's.
So
they did have some other options that were different, ones that were just for Japan, but the cheeseburger tasted just like a McDonald's cheeseburger.
Wouldn't it be cool? Because I know, like in Vegas, right? There's like Coke World where you can have like the Globes flavors. Wouldn't it be cool if they had a McDonald's like that?
Isn't that what Vegas is? Coke World?
It can't be. Go see Jesse on the corner. But like McDonald's, wouldn't that be cool if you could have like the global McDonald's products? I mean, it's not like they wouldn't have. They're their own supply chain. They wouldn't have any problem in providing those things. I'd do that. Like, what kind of stuff they have in Japan that was different?
Squid ink buns.
Yeah, right? Stuff like that. I don't. It's been a while since I've been back to Japan, but stuff like that. Just I don't even remember.
I keep seeing strawberry Kit Kats every time you hear like strange Japanese flavors.
They exist.
I would say it's a Glock.
Yeah.
McDonald's has a gun?
Mm-hmm.
I could see that.
Too many people like McDonald's. Everybody hates Glock. So if everybody was like, "Oh, I hate McDonald's because so many people like McDonald's," then maybe. But most people are like, "Oh, I hate McDonald's, but I also eat McDonald's." So it's not divisive enough to be a Glock enough. I think it would be a 1911. But I hate to say that. But it'd be something that's been around. I'm gonna say a Beretta 92. Something that's been around way longer and it's ubiquitous. But it's also not people's first choice, but they're comfortable with the choice if they have to make it. gonna say Glock
Yeah.
is like Pizza Hut.
Here's a Japanese McDonald's menu.
$420 for a hamburger.
Well,
Man, I can't be
it's-
reading that. That's tiny.
If
$500
it's
for
about 100 to 1.
soy sauce burger.
It's about 100 yen. I don't know what the current rate is, but usually it's about 100 yen to $1.
Roasted soy sauce double thick beef.
So it's $4.20.
Yeah.
Bucket of filet of fish.
Ooh, a double.
For
Big
$5?
A double
Damn.
Big Mac. That's not even
Quattro burger? No way.
Wow.
4 patties,
That's
3
surprising.
buns.
That
How many
really
ounces?
surprises me.
That's a double Big Mac.
A double
Yeah, dude.
fish fillet. That really surprises me because they're
I
not.
want
They don't.
Is that the
gorge on
sumo
stuff.
menu?
a fish fillet except without bread. 2 fish fillets surrounding a fish fillet.
Does it tell you the ounces?
Of which one?
It's Japanese ounces. So there's like
Either of them. I'm just wondering if they're smaller.
Is that like a 1 pound burger? Or is that like a half pound burger? Like 8-pound patties or quarters or what? Because they had like 10th pound patties.
It's like an
So
hors d'oeuvre.
product weighs 285 grams.
It's
Fucking metric.
It's not even.
28 grams in an ounce. 280, 10 ounces.
10 ounces.
Well, how many grams? 28 grams in an ounce. Just 280, that's 10. Come on now. I mean, barbecue isn't here. Check my math. I'm used to leaning on homeboy, but
So is that for
Somehow
the
I
meat
know
or
how
for
to-
the full burger?
that's probably burger weight finish.
Beef stew pie.
That doesn't creep you out that they're stacking those chicken nuggets like that? McFry, $160 for big fries.
I don't
Well, that's a
understand how you could have
pie.
4 hamburger patties and the full burgers under a pound.
Well, how much does
Quarter pounds.
cheeseburger? What?
3 pounds. No,
Let me back up
8
here.
pounds.
Was there just a single cheeseburger?
Do they have those beef pies here in the United States?
I've never seen it.
No, we're like one of the test market cities for them, and that'd be cool.
Feuda
Haven't seen it.
tone egg demi glaze Dormaco. They squirted a bunch of mayonnaise or something on top of a hamburger. What do they cut those hamburgers and they cutting the edge off of it or something?
So a regular McDonald's hamburger patty is 1.6 ounces.
Shit. Is that before they cook it or after?
And a cheeseburger is 119 grams.
That's got to be pre-cooked, don't you think?
They don't cook it in Japan. Mixed sushi.
Quarter pounder is 4 to 6 ounces.
All right, true to weight. That definitely is pre-cooked then.
What the hell? A Big Mac, just a regular one. It's not even a half of a pound for the
What's a U.S. Big
entire
Mac?
burger.
How much does a U.S. Big Mac weigh?
7.6 ounces.
Hmm.
What a ripoff.
Jason J said he went to 2-level McDonald's in Japan.
I've been to McDonald's that are on 2 floors before. I'm trying to remember where. I went to a McDonald's that was over a tollway or something one time.
I was just going to share that was the strangest or the most odd McDonald's I had ever been to. It was like in Ohio or Pennsylvania, maybe.
I think there's like 5 of them. 'Cause I've
Yeah, I was watching-
seen more than one, but I've been to one.
I was watching a YouTube video of a guy, and he was talking about the Chevy Volt and mileage and stuff like that. And he was talking about, I forget what state, but these Oasis, where it's It looks kind of like an overpass, but they're restaurants that are over the highway.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
And then you just stop and get off the tollway, and you can get gas on either side, right? Yeah, you
Oasis.
across.
Yeah.
And then
Mhm.
there's a restaurant that goes across like it would be a bridge. There's almost always a McDonald's in it, but I've seen one where it was like something else, like what was that thing called back in the day? The Johnson's, Howard Johnson's. I think I remember seeing one that was a Howard Johnson's. I think that's super cool because then you can sit there eating, watching cars go underneath you.
It would be kind of neat to see it in person.
They were groovy. The thing that was a drag was like, because they're like in the center, it's kind of confusing for people that aren't used to them. And so the parking lots at the two that I stopped at, total clusterfucks, and not just because people were hungry. It's because it was like really confusing. And you had to almost go in a circle to get back out. And as congested as it was, I didn't want to deal with that as an arrangement. I'm like really used to I-80 being pretty desolate comparatively as it gets further west out this way. So that was just too much, all jammed up in the center. For me.
Well, while I'm thinking about it, let me do. Where's there? So, gearwebsite.com for your 2A related sticker, patches, t-shirts, other stuff, plus 3D printing and web consulting and a whole mess of other stuff. Gearwebsites.com. So, DJ, anything you want to plug?
I do have a few things on Saturdays on the A Great Start Shooting School channel. There's a discussion about mental health, suicide awareness. Good conversations happen there. There is going to be a holiday edition. So Saturday, think about joining us over on, and I would drop a link in the text chat to that channel. On the Guns and Barbecue channel, although word is from the man himself that Wednesdays might not be around for long and there might be a channel change. Until those things happen, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, check him out. Conversations run the gamut, 2A and otherwise. Let's see, the Costly Conversations podcast channel has got something coming up tomorrow. I'll drop a text link to that if y'all don't mind. And all those things being taken into consideration and recommended, I hope that all y'all are safe, you have fun, you carry your guns, and always rock.
G-Webs? Anything you want to plug?
Well, thanks for the link. Thanks for hosting. Have a good holiday. And are you doing this? This is not a show this week? Are you Saturday show?
No, this is an off weekend.
So have a good Christmas.
So are you doing podcasts now? Is that
What do you mean?
website podcast?
That's not a sanctioned term for our podcast.
Baron, you got anything going on? Anything you want to plug?
Is the dog's name podcast?
No.
Damn. I got nothing. I'm trying to build a M1 Christmas tree. I cannot find my ornaments or lights. So, bah
Did you
humbug.
say you couldn't find your ordnance?
Ordnance, yeah. I can't find all my bombs.
So no overnight this weekend, but there will be a mouse party next Wednesday. And then on the 31st, New Year's Eve, for you on the East Coast, it will already be New Year's. But we'll do a chat. We'll do some giveaways. Have some fun. Where it is? We'll be giving away Goat Gun M1 Grand and some patches. I'll give away one of these. There we go. And a deck of cards, one of these decks, one of the overnight decks, and some other stickers and patches and stuff. I think we'll do 3 prize packs. And Aegis basic gun cleaning kit and whatever junk I can find on my workbench. So that'll be on the 31st. Other than that, appreciate everybody hanging out with us. Those who were hanging out in the live chat and those who were watching but didn't say anything, appreciate you too. And those who watch this in the replay, leave a comment. Let me know whatever we talked about. Your favorite cheeseburger. I don't know. Let me know. And other than that, I hope everybody has a good rest of the night.